Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of What's Going On at UVI School of Agriculture, and that's the University of the Virgin Islands. So UVI SOA is the acronym that you see around the place a lot, all over the place now. We'll get back to where all those places are, but I'm Dara Monifa Cooper, your communications specialist and communications, technology, distance, and online learning with the UVI School of Agriculture's Cooperative Extension Service. Uh, and with me today, we have a very special guest to the agriculture world here in the Virgin Islands, and of course, our university, Dr. David Hall, the president of our only HBCU outside of the continental US and in the Caribbean, as well as a land grant institution. So, welcome, Dr. Hall. Long time.
It has been too long. Thank you. I'm glad to be here, though.
Of course, of course. So we're going to get right into it because many people are asking the question, what is going on with the task force? And for those who don't even know that the task force exists, could you just share a little history on how it came to be?
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you for this opportunity to reach out to the public and to inform people. In the 33rd legislature, now Senate President Donna Fred Gregory sponsored a bill, co-sponsored by a number of other senators as well, that called for the creation of an agriculture plan. And in the bill, it called for the Department of Agriculture and the university to work as the co-chairs or leads, that is the president and the commissioner, to bring about this plan. That bill was passed by the legislature, the 33rd legislature, and signed by Governor Bryan. And it created 8 mandates of things the plan had to contain. And so one of the first things that Commissioner Nelson and I did was to create a task force. There are 2 representatives in addition to him from the Department of Agriculture, the Assistant Commissioner, Collingwood, Deputy Commissioner, Hannah Carty. I felt that our Dean of the School of Agriculture and our Dean of our School of Business should also serve on the task force with me. And we also wanted a representative from St. John. So Harith Wick-Rima, who is the president of Island Green Living, is also on the task force. So those 7 members have been working to be able to fulfill the mandate of this bill or this act now, which is to create a agriculture plan for the territory. We do not want to develop this plan in a vacuum, although the 7 individuals who constitute the task force are very experienced and know a lot about the territory, and many of them a lot about agriculture. We want to get a lot of input from farmers, from the community, from other types of stakeholders. So we have developed a survey that we've sent out to all farmers. It's still being distributed, so some may not have received it yet, but we're wanting to get input from them in regards to what some of their challenges are, what they need to increase productivity, because one of the mandates of the act is to increase productivity so that the territory can become more self-sufficient as it relates to agriculture. So we want to know what farmers need to get to that next level. We have a community survey that we'll be sending out because in order to increase agriculture production, we cannot just rely on the farmers. We need everyone to get involved. So those who have community gardens, backyard gardens, a little pot on the porch are all players in this game. And we want to find out what they need as well. In addition to the surveys, we're doing initially 3 town halls. The first one will be this Monday on St. John. On Thursday, we'll be doing Wednesday on St. Croix. And then on June 3rd, we'll be doing one on St. Thomas. They're all from 5:30 to 7. There's information that we put out about how you can connect. The one on St. John will be at Gifft Hill, and the other two will be on the University of the Virgin Islands campus, Great Hall on St. Croix, the ACC building on St. Thomas. So those two steps, though not everything we're doing, are just very critical. We need the farmers and the community to complete the surveys, and we clearly need to hear from people at the town halls so we can have the right information to help develop this plan. We have to report back to the governor and the legislature with the plan, and we do not want to do that without input from those key constituencies that I've just mentioned.
Of course, of course. With everything, there are reasons for the rules that will help to make things happen more effectively. So we all should understand that by now, and if we don't, we'll keep repeating it so that we can remember that that's what it is. Thank you for sharing that. So, and although I'm with the School of Agriculture, there's of course much that each of us may not know. So it's helpful to hear the history of how it came to be, the different members on it, and what your charge is. So for these town halls that are coming up, what should the community who we're trying to encourage to make sure they attend and participate so we can get their buy-in and their suggestions and all their other information, what should they expect to get at these town halls? What type of information, or what's the plan for why we're doing these town halls?
Sure. The first three are primarily for farmers. We wanted to start out by having that key constituency talk to us. We will do some other town halls in the future that will be more open for community members to come in. But to give you a sense of the what we hope to obtain in the town halls that are coming up starting on Monday is, number one, just as you indicated, a lot of people don't know about the act and know about its mandate. So we want to first make sure they know that we exist and they know why we exist, because we don't want to assume that all of them are aware.
Right.
Second, and we're looking to the Commissioner of Agriculture to take the lead on this, is to make them aware of resources, things that the Department of Agriculture can now provide to them that already exist. The major portion, though, is for us to listen to them. After I make a presentation on the task force and he makes a presentation about what the department already offers, the rest of the time is tell us what are the barriers that are getting in the way of you being able to be a productive and effective farmer? What can the government do to increase productivity? Because the Act asks for us to focus on training and education, one of the things we're going to also try to explore with them is what additional types of training programs does the university, the department need to offer? And more importantly, will you take advantage of it if we offer it?
Right.
So there are other questions that we want to certainly explore with them. We have heard a lot about the challenge of what we're calling farming infrastructure, like the lack of consistent water supply, especially in dry or drought seasons. We want to explore with them, how do we address that on a systematic basis? There are issues around fencing, issues around access to farmlands, et cetera. We want to get a better understanding of how those challenges play themselves out.
Yeah.
And though we will not do this now, One of the things we want to do in the future is survey retailers, those who purchase agriculture products from the farmers, to find out what their challenges are. Because if we increase productivity, but the retailers aren't buying them from the farmers, then we are still not creating the sustainability that is needed. So we certainly will want to find out from the farmers what their challenges are in that regard. But we also want to find out later on from the retailers to see why they aren't purchasing more.
Mhm.
Or if more was available, would they purchase more locally grown products than the 90 some percent of our consumption that is presently being imported?
Yeah, that percentage has always been and is still too high.
Yeah,
Makes sense. And at the end of the day, that's one of the things that people need to see the big picture of. Uh, and they experience it too in the other way around. If something is created and put out there, lots of thought gone into it, buy-in from everybody, but once it's rolled out, the participants aren't really participating, it can't be successful. And
yeah.
so that's why the town halls make sense, and everyone getting their input from early, and getting those realistic responses to those questions will help to cut some of those things, because we know many things have been tried before.
Yeah.
Many things, and we just need to keep learning from them so that we don't make the same mistakes. And it may be new mistakes, it may be new situations. Nothing is the way it was before COVID. Nothing is the way it was before Irma and Maria. So we can't even only use what's already been done before. So for people who may think, why are we starting over? We kind of need to. We need to see where we're at right now. So I definitely am glad that the task force has been put together, and those who are serving on it are going to be doing so and are reaching out to the community to get their input. So there's, if
What?
you see me digiting around, it's because there are people asking questions and things on Facebook, so I'm multitasking. But please
Okay.
continue to share.
Yeah. One point based on what you just said about, are we starting over? One of the things we really have made a point to do is to review the prior plans, because there were other plans developed for the territory.
Right.
One is recently under the uh, leadership of former Commissioner of Agriculture Peterson. And we have that plan. We have reviewed it. I have met with him to get his perspective on it. There was a plan even done back in the 80s that we have, that we are looking at as well, because as you said, we don't want to make the same mistakes that may have been made before. The other thing that one of the members of the task force is taking the lead on is that there's been a lot of laws passed already. There's a lot of that relate to agriculture that's on the books, but people aren't aware of them. So she is, and this is Deputy Commissioner Carty, is in the process of doing a compilation of all existing laws that affect agriculture. So we can review those, because some of the things we may be asking for have already been legislated, and it's just a matter of enforcing what is already there. So you're right, a lot of work has been done. Our goal is to build on that work, not ignore it, but to try to come up with a comprehensive scheme that has some benchmarks, that is going to be monitored. And that's the other thing. The act requires that we come up with a structure for an existing advisory board that will ensure that the act is, to ensure that the plan is actually implemented over time. So we hope that we can come up with a strategy and structure that really will make a difference this time.
Makes sense. Thanks so much. and for addressing that, because we know that these are some of the questions that come up. We have a very good community that's great at being critiques. So it's helpful when we can use it in a productive way,
No
and
doubt.
get ahead of things. Another, as you were speaking, it reminded me also under Dr. Peterson, when I was first coming in, before I was full-time with Cooperative Extension Service, there was a agritourism directory and surveys that were done to different policymakers, restaurateurs, and so on. It sounds similar, but not as maybe developed as what it is you all are planning in terms of surveying. And maybe he can find some of those things and again, what has already been done before. I don't think it was completed, and so
Okay.
it was under Governor DeYoung at the time, so that's a while back. And so
Yeah.
again, there are things that people I'm sure are coming out of the woodworks and trying to share with you and say here. So who do they contact? How do they reach you all to be able to share input if they have input to try to help?
Well, and I apologize. We do have a special email where information can be sent to. I don't have that right now. So in the meantime, they can send it directly to me, dhall@uvi.edu, and I will pass it on to the administrator for the task force, because we do have a designated person with a designated email address, etc. And I forgot to bring that with me for the session. But if they send it to me, I'll make sure we get it to them.
I believe I just found it.
Okay. Yeah.
Ag, Ag Plan, is that it? Is that the right one?
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Agplan@doa.vi.gov. So AGPLAN at DOA, for that's Department of Agriculture,
Good.
.vi.gov. And for those of you in Facebook, I'll type it in the chat as well.
Good.
Okay, so that's who they contact. So, and help me clarify that. So this is a combination of yourself, the commissioner, and some other people. How is the structure of it so that people can have a better understanding of that?
Yeah. Well, we are a task force that meets every Friday at 10 o'clock. These are virtual meetings, and we have an agenda every Friday that's guiding the work that we're doing. And therefore, that email site that you just shared with everyone is how people can get any information they have to us, any questions that they may have. We have Jaquette Maynard, who is our administrative support for the task force. She monitors that email address and will respond to questions that come in. We will eventually develop a website so that the results from the surveys can be posted and people can see what the farmers are saying. The community survey will be posted as well. So that will be the way in which we communicate with the public. Every time we're doing a town hall or something that is outward facing to the public, we will come on the airwaves and get in the press and let people know what's going on. Once we get to the point where we actually have a draft plan, before we submit that to the legislature and to the governor, we certainly are going to share that plan, that draft plan, with the community. And so we'll again have either some town halls or we will post it on our website so that people can react, because we want this to really work. And those who are key stakeholders are the best ones to tell us if we overlook something that they shared, or that if someone has come up with an idea that's better than the ones that we have developed, we want to know about it.
Of course, of course. And thank you for that, because now they know it's not a UVI task force, it's not a
No,
Department of Agriculture task force. This is a combined effort.
yes. And that's what I think makes it unique. And I must applaud Senate President Fred Gregory and the sponsors of they put a lot of thought into it. We are not freelancing out here. As I said, there are 8 mandates that are embedded in the act. We have structured the task force to have 8 subcommittees that are looking at each of those mandates that relate to education, that relates to the standing advisory, that looks at data, looks at regulations. And so the subcommittees report every Friday as to what progress they are making in regards to the 8 mandates. So this is something that is keeping all of us busy. It's not my regular job of running the university, but I have learned a lot working with the individuals in the Department of Agriculture and working with other members of the task force who really have taken this charge very serious. And even though they are set task force members, the subcommittees are reaching out to other individuals who are not on the task force, but who can be beneficial. I've met with both of the former, or at least the last 2 commissioners of agriculture to interview them. Other people are reaching out to other key stakeholders because we want to bring the best thinking to this process.
Of course, as only those of us that are involved with this could, as well as those who will soon be finding out about it if they have not. And this is something that's going to take a community effort. So we will need everyone to do whatever their part is, and also to be patient with the process. This is a
Yeah.
big challenge. It's not a small challenge. It's globally, it's not a small challenge, and especially in our unique situation, it's even more of a challenge. So no one should expect miracles. I don't. But we can make miracles happen if we collaborate productively. So in the chat, both on Facebook and within the Zoom, I put the link to what is currently being used to house the information under the Department of Agriculture's website. So for people who want more information on those areas that you mentioned, they can go there. So my last question to you for today is, what would your vision be? What would it look like uh, after these task force meetings have ended, and for you all to be able to say, yes, this is success. This is what we were hoping for, or even more than what we were hoping for. What would that look like in terms of the community and everyone coming together?
Sure. Well, I am reluctant to talk substantively because I don't want to get ahead of the task force. So I'm going to focus more on process and what I hope we will achieve. Um, I hope that whatever is informing our recommendations came about because the majority, if not more, of individuals in the farming community actually shared with us their perspective. If we send these surveys out and we get 10 and that's it, then I will feel like we failed because we need to figure out how we can actually get to the farming community and get their perspective. So that process is important to me. The community is important as well. So we want to hear what consumers feel about what needs to happen in order for them to buy more local or to be more supportive of agriculture. And certainly the retailers, we need to have them at the table as well. So one level of success, and I'm just speaking for myself, it's not the entire task force, is that we really want systematic and widespread input into what it is we're trying to do. Second process for me is that the report, whether people agree with it or not, is a very thoughtful, clear, and data-driven report. That is, it's not just because David Hall likes it or it's not because X likes it. It's because the data points to the fact that here is what we need to do in order to improve productivity. One of the things I know we're going to recommend, and I'm chair of that particular subcommittee, is we need to collect data about agriculture on a more regular basis. The agriculture census comes out every 5 years. That's a good report. We've already looked at it, but things change too fast for us to wait 5 years to know what's happening in the territory.
Right.
So those are a few things that define success for me at a broad level, but I am confident that through this process, we will come up with some very creative and innovative recommendations that build on the past, but try to really create an innovative future for agriculture.
Thank you. Thank you. Makes sense. And so just wanted to, again, encourage the community to attend these task force meetings. And I'm going to just reiterate when they are. So we're starting with St. John, Gifft Hill School on the 17th. And all of them are at the same time, as you mentioned, 5:30 to 7 p.m. St. Croix on the 19th, and that'll be at the university in the Great Hall. And St. Thomas on the 3rd, which is in the Administration and Conference Center here on the university campus. I know that farmers are excited, anxious, and many other feelings. And some of them are actually trying to organize amongst themselves to be able to help in this effort. So I was made aware of a meeting that's happening on the 16th, before the 17th, amongst the farmers. And I know that the word is going to spread there so that they can encourage more people to attend the task force. And they're meeting with, and I think it may have, some of these things are happening in silos, but the timing of them is all going to work together, because they're going to be meeting with Lieutenant Governor Tregenza Roach at the Board of Farmers Market on the 16th between 3:30 to 6, and they're inviting the farmers to just get together and try to, make some sense out of things. They're going to do their own survey amongst themselves so that they can have some information. So all of these efforts are needed for everything to work. And I think I'm excited to start seeing so much happening in terms of organizing this effort. So definitely want to thank you and the task force members for what you all are doing. And of course, you have the UVI School of Agriculture's full support. I don't need to say that, but it's part of my job, so I'll do it. But thank you again for making the time to come and share this information, and we'll do our part to get the word out and help to.
I appreciate that. And thank you for the creating this forum for me to share. And I hope that I can come again as we move along.
Well, we'll see if we can fit you into the schedule.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.